So, Anton, tell me about camp.
So we're running a new camp at Musser Scout Reservation, which is known as our STEM Adventure Day Camp. Now, this camp is for um, youth who can be first through fifth grade, so that's our Cub Scout age, but also for youth who are sixth through eighth grade, so in the Scout Space age range. But it doesn't necessarily have to be someone who is involved in scouting. We recommend for any Cubs or Scouts who want to go as well. But if they have friends or members of the community who are not involved, they can attend as well. This camp is, like I said, at Musser Scout Reservation at our Camp Garrison facilities, and it is all focused around STEM. So, rockets, weather, robots, all sorts of things STEM based. The starting price is $370 per week, but there is a rate if you're signed up with Scouts, either with would be a Cub Scout pack of $325. For our older youth, it's a little pricier at $385, but the Scout rate would be $340. We're running 6 weeks of program. Our first week starting June 24th, and then our last week ends on August 2nd. It's a really great opportunity for Scouts to get the camp. It's not a resident camp, but if it's something easier for parents to have their Scouts attend, I highly recommend it. And with those prices, there is also the option of transportation included, which would be busing. So that's a little bit about our STEM Adventure Day camp.
Alrighty, so it is December 15th. This is Reese Wallace with Aaron Munson. So, Aaron, how long have you been in scouting?
Oh man, about 30 years now.
Okay, very good.
Since I was about 5 years old.
Okay, very good. So what's your current role in scouting? You can name your current position, any prior positions, whatever you want to talk about.
My current role is district executive, about to be senior district executive come January/February. That's my current role. Currently an OA member.
Mm-hmm.
Currently working on my wood badge. And I believe that's what's current right now.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So, you mentioned wood badge. What's your wood badge ticket? This isn't one of the questions, but I'm just curious.
My wood badge ticket is for the kids that we have in Chester,
Mm-hmm.
the after school program.
Mm-hmm.
It would be finding a way between now, since we have the schools running, we have kids in active program, which was the first step. The next step for me is to get them some books
Mm-hmm.
for the kids that are consistent in the program.
Very
So
good.
once the kids been consistent for 2 months, um, the goal is to get those kids some books. So kind of like do a fundraiser or something to that accord to get the kids some books.
Oh, nice. Well, let me know if I can help with that.
Will do. Will do.
So, how has scouting... So, you've been in for 30 years. So, how has it impacted your life and the life of your family so far?
It has shown me different ways to work with other people that are from different backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
and how to you know communicate and develop young leaders as well. and yeah, it helped build like a foundation of education outside of your formal education system uh, in my personal life.
Very good. So, what's your favorite memory from scouting? If you have more than one, you can share as much or as little as you desire.
Favorite memories. I would say camp staff, learning how to drive.
Okay.
I had a young young lady. That's funny. She wasn't really young, but young lady named Barb,
Mm-hmm.
who she used to teach us how to drive on like the weekends and stuff, and it got pretty hairy sometimes on those back roads.
I got you.
So yeah, camp staff doing night hikes at
Mm-hmm.
Camp Park, trying to find all the see if all the ghost stories were true. East side. Swimming in full class A, the old camp staff tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas in July, a lot of camp staff fun memories.
Got you. Well, speaking of camp staff, so you served on the Hart camp staff. What made you join the camp staff?
Oh, I just back then I thought it was the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was as a camper, you know, when you're a camper, you don't have electricity or nothing at camp.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just got your tent and everything. You walk by the staff area, you see the video games going, you see the fans going, you see like a whole entertainment. You're like, man, I can't wait till, you know, I get to camp like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, become camp staff. I had a few guys who like John Amato, who was the sports director at the time. And he was a big like motivator for me to eventually become sports director and go down that path when I joined camp staff.
Mm-hmm.
Camp staff back then, Camp Hart, Boy Scout camp, to me it was the coolest thing. Like you could sit with the guys. It was like hanging out with the homies, doing merit badges and stuff. So
Got you.
that was fun.
Very good. So you kind of already talked about your memories of camp staff and your favorite memories, which seem to be almost everything, which is good. I'd probably respond to that question similarly. So very good. So what was your biggest takeaway from your time on camp staff?
I'd say my biggest takeaway was it was the hard work, like the work like to set up camp and break down camp and just getting in the grind of getting camp like ready and then taking it down, and then in the middle you just having kind of fun the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But I found fun in the setting up and taking down part of it too, because we used to. It was a group of us who used to go up a week earlier because back then they used to have the Widener kids come up. So it was like the kids with special needs and disabilities. They used to come up, and there was no staff for them really. So like myself, Antonio, Cedric Wise, and JR. It was a few of us. We'd go up early, and we'd kind of be their camp staff. And then the next week we'd do setup week, and then staff week, and all that, and then the regular camp. So, biggest takeaway was just hard work. You work hard, you play hard, pretty much.
Gotcha. So this interview is kind of to show people that your experiences as an African American scout are very similar to everyone else's experiences. But I also want to hear about any advice you might have for other African Americans who want to join the camp staff or just join scouting in general. So let's talk about camp staff. So why should African American scouts join the camp staff?
For the experience, it's a lot you can learn, especially depending on when you join camp staff. If you join with the new Seek program, I believe is.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot from the different areas, the different program areas, if you rotate around at that time. And you can find your interests. Don't just focus on the positive. Don't focus on too much of the politics or any of like other stuff. Just find your like what you like to do and just stick to it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and don't, and like I would say be firm in your position, because one thing I did experience when I was camp staff, they would like you to work sometimes in certain areas, and if that's not your thing, fight for what you believe in and say, hey, like I want to work here, and hold your ground, and then you'll be happier in the long run for it, because I know I had to fight to be out in the field.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah. So, and a few folks didn't really like my decision, but that's what I saw my value on camp staff at, and it all worked out at the end.
Mm-hmm. So now, kind of, I guess, backing up to like the 30,000 foot view of scouting in general, your experience. So what has your experience been like as an African American in scouting in general?
I say overall my experience has been good.
Mm-hmm.
Because I usually stick to what I believe in.
I got you.
And don't let too much get in my way. I guess I would say it that way, or like too much to like try to throw me off my square. But like my experience has been good. I met great people. I encountered a lot of different challenges that I learned that if you stick to yourself, you be honest, and you communicate, you could overcome those challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are going to be challenges in scouting, and there are going to be challenging people in scouting. So, but that's everywhere as well. So you just gotta, be mindful, like that you're gonna have your challenges, but don't let that stop you from your goals.
Gotcha. Okay.
But overall, good experience. Had a lot of fun. Still having fun. Still learning a lot. Yeah.
Very good. So what keeps you in scouting?
Just being kind of like a role model to the younger kids, so they could have a visual of someone that looks like them in the program. It could speak to where they might come from. They might be coming from, and I can understand where some kids, are coming from in their different situations. So just kind of like sticking around to be kind of like that visual or in that mentor. Sometimes I don't like to use that word, but be like that mentor to the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
You
Very
know,
good.
and I like the connections, the different people you meet, the different characters you meet in scouting. Very interesting group. So that's what keeps me around. It's like a family.
Gotcha. So I know you're an OA member. So how long have you been an OA member?
I was an OA member. I became an OA member on camp staff.
Okay.
Did my ordeal the 1 year. Then the next summer did my brotherhood, and I did ceremonies when I was brotherhood. So I played Kishkanet for a whole summer at camp staff back in the day.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah.
No, I don't think we ever talked about that.
I thought I mentioned it. I don't know.
You might have, but it might have gone over my head.
Yeah, I played the role of Kishkanet. Everybody was amazed because I knew all my lines and everything. No paper, no reading. I like knew my stuff. It was legit. I wish it was like recorded or whatever, but it was a good time. I did like a weekend at TI back in the day before it really was like flooded out and we couldn't go there no more. And then, you know, I was a paid member for a while until recently again. So I've been in the OA, but not paid member of the OA, then back into the OA. It was a good, like, active 5 years back in the day.
That's good.
So,
well, I'm glad you're back with us.
Yeah, same. Because part of the big issue for me back then was transportation.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't make it to weekends, not because our dad had no interest. It was because I literally didn't see no way I could get there. So that kind of like held me back on my involvement more into the OA back then.
I got you. And then, what was your ordeal experience like?
I'm talking years ago.
Yeah, if you don't remember, you don't remember. Or if it's like just vague memories, we can skip it.
I remember my overnight was on East Side Hart.
Okay.
Outside all the buildings that are like knocked down and everything's overgrown. There's like a pull-up bar over there.
Yes.
That's pretty much where we did our overnighter.
Okay.
And then, if I remember right, my ordeal labor was we basically like raked a whole area near the boathouse. Like cleaned up a whole area near that waterfall and near the bridge.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it was an ordeal. I had not even to say the ordeal, but the archery field out over there. It was 3 of us who raked that whole field originally.
Oh.
Like, and we was raking to the point our hands was cramping up around the rake.
Oh.
So there's some hard labor at camp back in the day.
I got you. And then, how has the Order of the Arrow enhanced your scouting experience?
It was just more of a like as I'm older and after like brotherhood, it was more like a relaxing time away from like the scouts and the merit badges and the like earning everything and stuff like that. It was more just like almost like a getaway time from scouts. Like,
okay.
Like scout vacation. Like you just go, you hang out with the guys, you do a little bit of work, you know, that's it. It's like you're not tracking stuff so much, you're not, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then you have the unique experience, not only that you grew up in the program and were in the OA, are in the OA, but you also work for council. So what made you decide to apply for the job originally?
I just knew with all the, you know, history I had, the experience I had, and it just seemed logical at the time. And I was like, I could do this. And when I started, I knew everybody in my district already, and I knew that they could deal with somebody a little bit younger in the district.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it was good for me. I said, okay, if I could get a position in Scouts, is a program I know, a lot of people I already know. This would be something that I could do as a career, and it really won't be like, you know, a big learning curve.
Yeah.
So it just everything kind of like fitted into place in the time that I applied, the time that I officially finally got hired as a professional full-time staff. Because I didn't start as an executive, I started in the after-school program as back then they had commissioners, but they were paid commissioners for the after-school program, and it was like a monthly salary thing. So I did that for a year or two, and then I was brought on by Dan Templar. When Dan came into his position, I was finally brought on as a professional staff.
Gotcha. Okay, so you kind of already talked about the positions you've held at council. You were working in the after-school program. Now you're the district executive, program and service specialist for Service Area 2. So you're working outside the city now. You're working in Minquist, Constellation, Baden-Powell. So that's good. You work with me. So you're one of my favorite people. So we talked about that. Okay. So what do you see as your impact on scouting through your work at council? Like, how is that different from when you were a unit leader or working camp staff? Like, what is that experience like on working at council?
You said versus camp staff and everything else?
Yes. Do you feel like your impact is different? Do you feel like you're just kind of continuing the mission just in a different way? How does it feel working on the council staff?
It feels it feels like the impact is there as needed. We're working with the volunteers, especially in our area, who pretty much got a good lock on things. It's just kind of like being there in a supportive role and a safety role, and just kind of like a backup role too. So if they really need something done or need some assistance or some advice, then that's my role. Is a less hands-on in the trenches role, like being a scout leader. Like you're there every week and the meeting, helping plan the meetings, stuff like that. Is in the role that with council, since you have so many units that you work with, is more of just a supportive role. Like you're there you gotta make sure they know that you're there to help, and just keeping people up to date on what's going on and on track with everything that's going on as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite memory from your time on council staff?
I just like it when we travel.
That's fair. That's fair. I know you went out to California for your DOB, District Operations 2 training, so I know you enjoyed that.
Yes.
You seemed like you enjoyed yourself when we went to Bedford.
Yes.
I got you. Very good.
We went to Shawnee the 1 year. It was nice. I was able to get away, go to the mountains for a little bit.
Yes, you like your snowboarding.
Yeah. So I like it. My favorite memories is when we travel.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's fair. And then
like 2 years ago we went.
Yeah.
That was before you came on.
Yeah, I was about to say that was before I started working. Okay. So, what advice would you give to other African Americans who want to work for the council staff? Or on the council staff?
I would say my biggest advice would be to just be open to new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Open to new ideas. Adaptable to different leadership styles you might work with.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that everybody you working with has a way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the time to learn, adjust, and also develop your way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Within that, and don't take nothing too personal.
Gotcha. Alrighty. That's all the questions I had, so I'll end the recording here.
Excellent. Now tell me about Resica Falls.
So Resica Falls is our Scouts BSA camp in the Poconos. It is 4,200 acres. Really beautiful property. I worked there for 3 summers of my life, and I do really love it. That is for our typical Scout summer camp, earning merit badges. We have afternoon adventures now, so it's not all day classes of merit badges, but there is adventures in the afternoon that scouts can go on, such as canoeing on the Delaware River or going to Fossil Rock and jumping into the natural swimming hole. So it's a really great opportunity for those scout troops to attend. If you can't attend with your troop, there's options to go with our provisional troop 1, so you can go up and be put with other scouts whose troops aren't attending Resica. There's also a couple high adventure opportunities at Resica for older scouts, such as Fall and Run and Paddlerama on the Delaware River.
Excellent. Thank you, Anton.